wanted you to get on the Russian thing so that way you could say you went international.
Yeah, no, it did.
Wants you next week, and I'll be texting you. I'll just text you the ones, but there's 2 next week already.
And I'm going Monday with. I'm on Monday again with Fox News with Varney this time.
Oh wow.
I'm like, oh my god, it's awesome though. I got a lot of input from Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum while we were there. So.
Ty, the big ones for the tornadoes. It's the warnings for southeastern Woodford County, northwestern McLean County, and now there's a new one until 3:45 in North Central, which is where we're at, kind of. It's got Chenoa.
Yeah, I think
you want me to remember all that?
Yeah, like
you.
did it start? Did I start?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Oh, so don't worry about the big one. Just worry about
Here, just
oh yeah. You
can unfold it and just read that whole page.
Just say it's bad. It's raining.
The craziest thing was believing that your dad knew everything. So as a dad, you felt like you had to know everything. You had to get everything right. It's okay.
What's going on, chat?
As long as it's coming from love.
Y'all see I'm in here with my father figure / mentor, Dr. Beckton.
I want him to be able to sit back one day and go, we worked together, we did a good job.
That's dedication.
Can you guys hear me pretty good?
Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is Dr. Beckton.
As an organ donor,
He's false. He's not a real doctor. You know, like he's not a doctor either. He don't have children either. Like I don't. He don't have any of those things. I love debunking them.
Love you too.
as an organ, eye, and tissue donor, be happy you did it. Because maybe someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You guys hear me okay?
Services Administration.
Want you to know the messaging is completely clear.
Okay, appreciate you guys saying you can hear me.
Bringing you the daily news and having fun at the same time. Mark Lee, Van Camp, and Robin Show. Weeknights at 8.
All right,
On
so
Cities 92.9. Cities 92.9. Severe weather.
Well, how do I?
What is going on, Bloomington Normal? I'm Ty Smith, and we interrupt this broadcast. No, listen up, Bloomington Normal. Listen up, listen up, listen. The National Weather Service in Lincoln has issued a tornado warning for southwestern Woodford County in central Illinois, northwestern McLean County in central Illinois until 3:45. Also, there's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Danvers, or 11 miles west of Bloomington, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. Its hazard is the tornado, and this was the source was a radar indicated rotation. So definitely some rotation there. There's flying debris that will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Okay, so make sure that you take safety precautions immediately. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. It can be. Okay, so listen up. Damage to roofs, windows, vehicles can and will occur. Tree damage is most likely during this situation as well. This dangerous storm will be near Bloomington and Carlock around 2:50 up until we get any further notice. Other locations in the path of this tornado thunderstorm includes Normal and Hudson. This also includes highways, Interstate 39 between mile markers 0 and 7, Interstate 55 mile markers 160 and 168, Interstate 74 between mile markers 120 and 130. Tornado radar indicated this. There could be extreme flash floods, which we've already had. In fact, this is something that I had to do before as soon as I got home off the airplane. I had to go home and our street was flooded. I got a hoe and went out and had to pull debris from the storm drainage so the water can drain there properly, and actually lifted up a few grates so the water can just drain on down it because our streets were completely flooded. Now, the tornado warning issue for Greeley, Hudson, Chenoa areas of McLean County is still in effect, mainly north central, until 3:45. So please, please, please make sure you are paying attention to this. Please take the proper precautions and stay safe. All right? Stay safe out there, Bloomington Normal. I'm Ty Smith, and you listen to Cancel This. The phone number here is area code 309-451-9299, and you can also text the show at 309-807-1600. And before we took the break, you guys heard me going on a rant about this whole thing that we see that is facing our nation right now, and me actually telling people to stand up and be strong, which is dealing with critical race theory. And folks, I know this is going to go over into our next show, but I'm going to just go ahead and get it started right now because I know a lot of my subscribers are excited about this. They've heard me talk about this man a lot. They heard me numerous of times describe him. They heard me tell a lot of different things that I faced in my childhood, and I always referred to him as Dr. Beckton. And Bloomington Normal, YouTube, Dr. Beckton is in the studios with us right now. Dr. Beckton, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here.
Oh, thank you very much, Tylen. It's always good to be here and support you in any way I can.
See, that's what, so, guys, we're getting another alert right here. We're getting another alert, so sorry to interrupt this again, but I'm just letting you guys know. The National Service, tornado warning in this area until 4 p.m. Take shelter now in the basement, it says, or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. If you are outdoors in a mobile home or a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. And we got staff up here that's going to have a lookout, making sure that everything is going to be pretty cool and clear up here. We got some thunder going on, but if you're listening to this Bloomington Normal right now and also YouTube, you guys know when things are live, I don't mess around. So if you start to see some flashing and blinking and we get out of here, that's probably going to be it, because safety is absolutely key right here, right? And we can't be having nothing happen to Dr. Beckton. It's his first time coming here, right? So anyway, folks, Dr. Beckton, this is going to be so awesome from you guys to hear the different things that he do, because you guys are going to, I swear, you guys are going to think, and it's probably going to be a conspiracy with that too. Like, nah, we actually think that Dr. Beckton may just be Tylen's father. So Dr. Beckton, besides being a doctor, what else have you done? And what else are you? And as far as, like, I don't even want to just give it away. I'll let you tell it.
Oh, well, of course, a father.
Ding, ding, ding.
My wife, Dodie. We've been married for nearly 30 years and raised 3 beautiful daughters. And so that's kind of my main role. And so I also have spent a good many years in the Armed Forces Reserves. In fact, I'm still in. I'm a full colonel in the Illinois Army National Guard. So I love to serve. Been to Afghanistan a couple of times, and so just to name a few.
And in this particular branch of the military, what branch are you in right now?
I'm in the Illinois Army National Guard.
Now, what were you before that?
I was in the Illinois Air National Guard.
The Air National Guard. Did y'all hear that? The Air National Guard. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I've seen the pictures in your house. Let me rewind that. Did you fly a fighter plane?
That's correct. So I'm a family physician, and as a doctor in the armed services, you can go to what's called flight school or aviation medicine school and become a flight surgeon. And basically what a flight surgeon is, it's a doctor that manages the health of the military flyers. Is that another alert we got to deal with?
Yes, sir, guys. We're going to have these interruptions going on. Folks, again, from the National Weather Service, tornado warning in this area until 4 p.m. Take shelter now in the basement or interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. If you're outdoors in a mobile home in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. Check the media, folks, okay? Stay safe out there. And again, I don't want y'all to worry too much. We have our staff here that's out there looking out for us, making sure nothing's happening, making sure that there's no strong winds or anything coming towards the buildings, because if it is, we just going to have to cut this and go take shelter. So, Dr. Beckton, you flew a fighter plane. What type of training do you have to do to even do something like that?
Well, as a flight doc, that was back when I was in the Air Force Reserves. The schoolhouse where we went to get our flight medicine training was in San Antonio. And so it's a 6-week program. You go down, you learn everything about aerospace medicine, which is basically a specialty in occupational medicine where you provide care for those who work in the air environment, pilots, crew chiefs, and things like that. And they have special medical issues that we have to deal with and make sure are stable so that they can safely fly our military aircraft. And so after you finish your flight school, flight medicine school, you come back to the unit that you're assigned to, and depending on whatever your unit's base airplane is, that airplane, the flight doc gets to fly regularly in, usually one time a month. And at the time when I finished flight school, I was a part of the 131st Fighter Wing out of St. Louis, and they had F-15s. And so, yeah, the first official flight I got as a flight doc was in an F-15.
F-15. Folks, I told y'all, that's amazing. I'm Ty Smith, folks. You listen to Cancel This. The phone number here is 451-9299, and you can text the show at 309-807-1600. So, Doc, also, I remember that these, whenever, just being at your house, when you were mentoring me as a young teenager, I remember stories of you telling me, I don't know the name of the machine, but you would tell me stories of you getting in some type of apparatus where it would spin you guys to a certain amount of G-forces. Can you explain what that is and what it's about?
Yes, that machine is called the centrifuge machine. And if you happen to be going through flight medicine school to be assigned to a fighter unit, then you had to go through the centrifuge training that all of the pilots that become fighter pilots have to go through. So the doc has to go through the exact same training. And so what it looks like is basically you have to go all the way up to 9 G-forces, and usually an individual can easily pass out at about 5 Gs. So if you get 5 Gs, that's right at the time that you start to see a lot of people passing out. But we had to go all the way to 9 on 4 different runs, 4 different spins, and we had to go through what's called the anti-G straining maneuver, and to be able to keep ourselves awake and not G-lock. It's called G-induced loss of consciousness, and we have to go through those 4 different passes successfully. My issue was, actually, as I was going through the second pass, I ended up G-locking. I ended up passing out, and my technique wasn't as good, and so I ended up losing consciousness. And so I remember when it happened, the first thing that I remember is you can hear first before you can see. So your vision goes, your vision goes black, and then you go all the way out. But I could hear the people talking like, okay, yeah, he's coming too, type of thing. And then I was like, oh man, I G-locked, and then my vision came. I could actually see again once the blood got back into my retinal arteries, and you can actually see again. Because this, I'll just explain. The reason why you pass out is because the G-forces press from your head toward your seat, and as that pressure pushes the blood down out of the column where your brain is not getting enough blood, then you pass out. But the way you keep the blood in your brain when you're going through all those high Gs is to give what's called an anti-G straining maneuver. So you have to strain down real hard and hold it, then you breathe real quick and then get that strain back on. Because if you let out that pressure, the blood rushes out of your brain down into your seat and you pass out.
Wow. So is that similar to what is that pretty much that maneuver? Is that called like the Valsalva maneuver?
That's very similar to Valsalva.
Is that what that is?
Straining,
okay,
yeah.
man. So so now during whoa. So now when you're being spent at that many Gs, what is the purpose of that? Is that in case something happens within the aircraft and you able to actually stay with it? I mean, explain that to me, because I remember seeing videos of people just spinning, and I never understood what the purpose was for.
Yes, so fighter pilots in the Air Force, as well as the Navy and any of the high-performance aircraft that we have in the military, oftentimes during their missions, they have to make very aggressive turns that can put them up to 9 Gs of force. So like you're going forward, near the speed of sound, and then all of a sudden you turn and pull real hard, and you turn that fighter jet in a very aggressive turn, you can get up to 9 Gs. Man. And so obviously, the pilot doesn't need to pass out, because obviously if the pilot passes out, then they can crash the aircraft and die, obviously.
Wow.
So we need to train on how to be exposed to those Gs and how to successfully manage them and push through. In a typical turn, you probably don't have to go, in this actually flying the fighter jet, you usually don't have to go through more than 3, maybe 4 anti-G straining maneuvers, and then you usually come out of the turn. So you go out of the high Gs and you can breathe normally again. But you just have to make sure that when you do pull those high G turns that you don't pass out in the process. So that's the reason why we all had to go through that training, because when we get back to the base, depending on what the mission is, you may be pulling high Gs, longer durations, and you don't want to pass out.
Bloomington Normal, are you listening? YouTube, did you guys just hear that? I don't think y'all kind of, see, when I hear things like this, just think about this. What he just did right there, that is a prime example of what I'm telling you guys, to where, listen to him tell a story like that. I don't know if y'all know what it takes to be a pilot or not, but when I was working down in Florida, they have something called the Tyndall Air Force Base there. And I don't know, not everybody qualifies to be able to fly. They don't. So can you imagine the type of training that you have to go through, and the type of, mental capacity that you have to have in order to even be qualified to fly like that? And that's just becoming a pilot. He's also a doctor. What in the world? And you think, and my name is Modern Renaissance Man, huh? Yeah, I'm Modern Renaissance Man Junior now with this. Folks, we get ready to take a break here. More from Dr. Beckton. We come back on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal.
Cities 92.9, 2020 weather.
Okay, so YouTube, can you guys still hear me pretty well? And did y'all hear Dr. Beckton pretty well?
Potentially severe with highs in the 80s. Storm chances continue overnight with lows in the 70s and another chance of storms on Sunday. I'm WMBD Chief Meteorologist Chris Yates.
You're never more than 20 minutes for the latest Central Illinois forecast. Guaranteed 2020 weather on Cities 92.9.
Another storm.
Depend on
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Great
another
Plains Media
tornado
helps
warning
local
for
businesses stand out from the
Chinoa.
competition. Here's Ken Roth on explaining why he feels it's important to be on the radio.
The main thing is
I know
if we
if it
can
was-
get it
I
on
don't
the
know.
radio.
I think, I don't know, is it Chinoa?
I think so.
Oh,
Maybe it'll
good.
sink
That's
in.
probably it.
That's
That's what I
huge
thought
for
it was.
us. You know,
But
Okay.
when I'm
I could be
outside
wrong,
milking
'cause I do that
cows,
often.
I'm gonna
Your time.
Nevin Dog, appreciate it.
The 3 warnings, I highlighted them,
Okay.
and then you can add the other stuff for fluff.
So, what happened? Like, was I supposed to wait, or was I supposed to say it during, or was I supposed to wait for the whole?
I just had to make sure so pretty much it's just gonna go like cities 92.9 emergency weather, and then it'll be you.
Okay, that's what I want to get. So when it says that, I just go right into this.
But picture this as the best digital billboards in key locations around town.
All right, y'all know how to address it. If you're trying to get my attention, make sure you put the @ sign, start to spell out modern. If you want to ask Dr. Beckton a question, do it the same exact way. Start to spell out, put the @ sign, start to spell out modern. And when it brings up my icon, click the icon, type out your question. But you might not be able to get none in anyway because I'm going to ask them a lot of questions, so, yeah.
Indoor air quality solutions, the Pro Air family has decades of experience to ensure your
Which mic? Put which mic closer? The silver one? Because the black one he talks close to, but the silver one is supposed to pick up a lot. So,
checkup as they follow the CDC guidelines to keep you and your family safe. Bookmark ProAirHVAC.com and be sure to change your air filter this month. A friendly reminder from the Pro Air family.
Are you a problem solver?
yeah, as long as you're talking close to that mic, this one should pick you up pretty good too.
Okay.
92.9 extends an invitation to check out an opening in our sales department.
Carol,
We're
appreciate it,
looking
Carol.
to partner with businesses to help them solve marketing problems and reach goals to make them successful.
You stuck-
will need to earn trust.
Oh, Chad, I mean,
Be highly motivated and be able to work in
Mr. Travis Chargoya said he's stuck.
Interested?
And Travis been a subscriber of mine for a long time, and he's actually he's a flight paramedic.
Okay, beautiful.
Someone told Puddin and I to get a room, so we called Smash City and made a resi. Mr. J.
Yeah, flight paramedics have to do a lot of training.
Huh?
They have to do a lot of training.
The
Yeah, a lot of upgrade training, being EMTs and just a lot of hands-on.
Yeah, we did a video where I actually put this compilation together where I just did like this video showing like all the different subscribers, and I got a video of him actually like carrying his stuff out, going to the helicopter and all that. It was pretty nice.
Nice. Yep.
William Lynn, hello. Don't know if y'all can hear me, but can you guys hear me pretty well?
Radio's old school, and I would agree with that totally. And there's a lot of people listening to radio still. We're speaking with Howard from the Door Doctor on
Kara, absolutely. We're taking calls.
weekly basis. I have people comment on the fact how much they hear our.
What age did Dr. Beckton train for the fighter pilot?
Let's see. That would have been, I would have been in residency then. So, let's see. I would have been about 26.
So 26 years old.
Yep.
Good question, JT. Of course, when the radio come back on, I can't. Well, I can address those. I can do it the same way, but when y'all hear the music kind of kick in, that's when we get ready to go back into it. So, okay, I'm glad y'all can be pretty well. Ron Hewitt, appreciate it. Second domino, unfortunately, yes, and that's not new to me.
Hey, it's Steve Cease. Join me Saturday afternoon as we debrief Monday's.
Lawrence Rietano, I'm always good. You know that.
Local news and talk. It all gets started Saturday at 5 on Cities 92.9.
Cities 92.
Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, boys and girls and boys, the National Weather Service in Lincoln has issued a tornado warning. Okay, take heed. Southeastern Woodford County in central Illinois, northwestern McLean County in central Illinois. A tornado warning issued for Greedy Hudson, Chinoa areas of McLean County, mainly north central until 3:45. Make sure you are paying attention to any sort of media outlets that will be updating you as this go on, because possible chance of flying debris that which can be dangerous, and those caught without shelter, this is like flying missiles. So make sure that you are in a safe place. If you're driving and you got a ways to go home, find a store anywhere. Make sure that you are safe, because this can be serious. Mobile homes can be damaged and destroyed by these strong winds and gusts of winds. Damages to roofs, windows, vehicles can occur, and tree damage is also likely. Okay, and depending on where you may be, if the ground is low, possible saturation going on, there could be extreme flash floods and heavy rains coming with all these storms. So make sure you are safe. All right, folks, again, you're listening to Season 92.9. I'm Ty Smith, and you listen to my show, Cancel This. Phone number here is 309-451-9299. You can text the show at 309-807-1600. And we have my father figure / mentor, Dr. Beckton, in the house. Big time sports medicine doctor. Went to the pinnacle of what all sports medicine doctors can do. He became a team physician for the St. Louis Cardinals and got a World Series ring. And he still wants more. No. But something I want to talk about too, guys, is you heard that Dr. Beckton served in the military, 2 different branches, the Air Force and now the National Guard, is it?
Army, yeah.
The Army, okay.
Guard.
So now what makes those 2 branches completely different?
Well, I'm still a flight surgeon, so I still take care of Army aviators like I did Air Force aviators. And so the difference between the Army is most of our aircraft are rotary, so they're helicopters, as opposed to fixed wing. So we have a lot of helicopters. People may have heard of helicopters like the Black Hawk, maybe the Chinook. That's the big helicopter that kind of looks like a hot dog that's got propellers on both ends.
Yeah.
And then there's one called the Lakota. It's a 72. It kind of looks like the old MASH helicopters. And so yeah, so the Army is mostly rotary ring.
Okay. And if I recall, because when I was living in Florida, you came down and took a vacation, and you turned 50, and I remember you was actually training to go over to it. So you crossed over at the age of 50 to go to the Army. Explain what was the motivation? Like, what was it that made you say, I want to go and try this out?
You know, it's interesting. In your career, oftentimes you will get the opportunity to go in a different direction. And if that opportunity is really good or better than the one that you currently have, then oftentimes you'll choose that road. And that's what I did. I'd been in the Air Force Reserves for 22 years, and an interesting story. I actually started out in the Army Guard. When I was in med school in Tennessee, I was in the Army National Guard when I was in med school. And then the Air Force came recruiting me after I graduated from med school and became a doctor. And then I went to the Air Force Reserve side and stayed there for 22 years. And then the Army came calling about 3 years ago, and so I ended up switching back over to the Army. But there was a lot of things that was good for my career at this time. One thing locally, being here in Illinois, I had the opportunity to become the chief flight surgeon for the state, and with that came a lot of other good opportunities. And so that's what really made me switch over. And that's really the main message is, listeners out there, there will be times in your careers as you're going through in your work life that good opportunities will come, and you just want to look at them real closely and vet them out, make sure that that could be a good one for you or not. And if you find like it's a good one, then sometimes you just have to switch directions. Like I switched branch from Air Force to Army. That's
what I'm talking about. Now so can you guys understand that? So can you imagine these certain type of conversations that can be had? What Dr. Beckton is saying right now, imagine me being like that young kid and hearing him saying things like he said. You see what I'm saying? The way he's talking right now, there was he never gave me no inclination of something that I couldn't possibly succeed in. You didn't hear none of that from Dr. Beckton at all, did you? What you heard was he's talking about opportunities. When the opportunity presented itself, this is what I did. Although I was good and comfortable where I was and it was cool with that, but when a certain type of opportunity came, I took it. So imagine being a young kid, hearing him say something like that. What does that do? It keeps my mind focused on nothing more than what he's saying right there. It keeps my mind focused on saying, okay, wait, he said if an opportunity presents itself, then I should take it. So imagine if Dr. Beckton would have sat there and said, well, you know what, I would have taken the opportunity, but, because of my skin color or something like that, then I couldn't do it. Or if he would have sat there and said to me, well, I would have taken the opportunity, but, the systemic racism that's in this world and in this, maybe in the Army, maybe in any type of military branch, that if Dr. Beckton would have said that to me, could you imagine what they would have done to me if he would have said, yeah, I would have done it, but the white man or the racist system, it kept me from doing it. No, he said the opportunity presented itself and he took it. Bloomington Normal, America, YouTube, online listeners, are y'all hearing this? The opportunity. What do they call America? They say America is the land of opportunity. That's what we say about America. Folks, you're listening to Series 92.9, the News and Talk of Bloomington Normal. I am Ty Smith. The phone number here is 309-451-9299. You can text the show at 309-807-1600. So to the people that are listening right now and the people that are on YouTube right now, when you just heard Dr. Beckton give that explanation, when you heard him say that, doesn't it automatically make you feel like you can do something? You know what I mean? When he just said that, did it not give you did it not incline you to sit there and think to yourself, I can do something too? Did it not sit there and make you think about you might be in a particular position right now that an opportunity has presented itself, but you don't know if you should take it? Those are the type of things that I tell people all the time. They come in all shapes, forms, and fashions. Opportunities come all the time, but what do we do when they present itself? Do we make up excuses? Do we not want to take a step going through that door? Do we just sit back and make up excuses like, well, I would do it, but I'm not sure. Oh, I would do it, but I'm scared. Well, see, that's what I'm saying. What can you lose? What can you lose in taking an opportunity? If you take the opportunity, give it your best. If it don't work out, at least you know what it's like to actually be there. You might sit back and say, well, you know what? The next time this opportunity presents itself, I'm definitely going to be ready for it. But just to sit back and not even walk through the door yet to see what's on the other side, just to stand back and just make up all kind of excuses and complaints. And I got to give a shout out to one of my other mentors in Decatur, Illinois, Coach Cordell Ingram, principal of MacArthur right now. He used to make me recite something that I never understood until I actually became pretty much became an adult, right? But you won't be able to hear that until we come back, folks. We're taking a break right now. More to show when we come back. Listen to Season 92.9, the News and Talk of Bloomington Normal.
The news you need, the news you want. This is Cities 92.
All right, folks. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully you guys can hear me all good. The caller still there?
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah, I'm like, why is my wife calling me? So hopefully we done this up.
I wonder what the weather's doing out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm...
Biden says he didn't intend to suggest he would veto the fragile bipartisan infrastructure deal if a separate Democratic spending plan doesn't pass.
Republican leaders say they were blindsided by President Biden linking the trillion-dollar bipartisan infrastructure plan with a...
So the new warning says, tornado warning in this area until 4 o'clock. Take shelter now in the basement. The whole thing I just said again. So is this the one we have a longer break, Tony? This the longer break. We start back at 4:06, don't we?
Yeah.
Yes. See, I flew. Just
it flies. It
He
flies.
hasn't brought in another one for us to do quite yet, so we're good
Okay.
now. Unless anything like changes or extends, I think we've done everything so far.
Yes. Yes.
Mike Pinion. I love this guy. Mike Pinion. He's the most unsubscribed person on my channel. It's an ongoing inside joke. Because he know about some people that get on my channel and they got upset about some things that I said and done, so they'll go, I'm unsubscribing from you. So he's like the comedy part of it. Like every time he makes a comment, he'll say, great job on what you said, Tom. I'm unsubscribing. You know. So Mike Pinion said, he said, I hope he doesn't have any sinus problems. I went on maneuvers in a T-33 and wanted to beat my brains out. U.S. Air Force. I don't even know what that even means.
Yes. Barrel trauma, definitely. So really that's one of those medical conditions that you shouldn't fly with, and that's the type of thing that you should let your flight doc know. Hey doc, I'm really stuffed up, and the flight doc would say, you know what, let's keep you down and give you what's called a down slip. Down slip is like a no-fly slip. It allows you to do duties that does not include flying until your medical condition clears up. So he'd probably need to be, put on an antibiotic or treated somewhere. And then once that medical condition resolves, then you give him an upslip, and then they go back and fly again. But he got barrel trauma in the nasal sinuses, which is very painful. So that should have been caught, and he shouldn't have been flying.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Mike Pinion, did you catch that? Man, that's terrible, man.
But we Americans, a lot of times, we'll be hurt, we'll have issues, we won't want to say anything, and we'll just keep trying to just go do the job.
Gotta be the man, gotta be her. We're
Right.
Americans,
and sometimes you pay for it.
I'm being told, Tony, that we're not even being broadcasted.
What do you mean, really?
Yeah, my wife said they're not doing. It's not even playing. She said it's just constant weather thing. She said it's not even. Let me call her real quick.
Right now,
bro. But if it does, we got the audio from me streaming live right now. So we got the audio.
And then we'll still have the podcast up for it too.
Yep.
Is that why she was calling you?
So we're not playing at all? So you don't even hear me and Dr. Beckton and them talking at all since 3 o'clock. She said it's been nothing.
What are we here for then?
Are you serious? Hey, my wife said nothing. We're not even playing. It's just nothing but just constant streaming of weather.
Oh, is it? Yeah, is it Chris?
No, this is my wife. She was calling up here to tell me that like our conversation and stuff we're having right now is not even being heard. It's just constant weather. Are you serious? Are you serious? But we actually. Do we actually record our audio when we do this?
Yeah.
We do here? Okay, sweet. So I might have to come in next Saturday then, is what you say? Oh man, okay, babe. Thanks for letting me know. Okay.
Congressman Anthony Gonzalez. Gonzalez was one of the 10 House Republicans who voted to impeach former
What?
President Trump following the riot.
At least we live on YouTube.
Yes. You know, it's funny. Technology and you know, these various different information platforms tend to like go haywire when I come around. I don't know what it is. Computers, they just do really strange things when I come around. It's always been like that.
Oh, it's just them doing the weather.
How are they able to? Where's Chris? Man, like Chris, we leaving.
This is Chris talking.
He must go. He probably. I bet he would tell us to continue on, and then make this show next Saturday or something.
Today, some potentially severe, with highs in the 80s. Storm chances continue overnight with lows in the 70s.
Because they're doing it in the bowl studio right now for the bowl, so I'm guessing they're just putting it on all three just to make it easier.
Well, at least the audio is there, and they get to see Dr. Beckton on the thing too, so that's gonna be. Yeah, because I think that we get some time, you know. Candace Owens, them gonna want you to come down to Nashville and come on too, man, because they just like this is they're like, man, this is what we're talking about, man. This is awesome, man. They like, we need more of this because it's just not seen in our community, so that's what we can really lead into here in a little bit.
Yes.
Bitcoin Bell, don't worry, we got another hour, Bitcoin Bell, so you'll hear him.
I think the caller is Kara.
Okay.
If I'm right, I don't know.
Okay.
I told them, I think that is in the national. Do you have the app?
The news
Yeah, I just pulled it up actually.
What is it playing? Is it playing Chris?
So now my music's gonna start. What's going on, Bloomington Normal? Hope you guys are all out there staying safe. Make sure you have radios on, phones on, so you can get the weather alerts. You are listening to Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. I am Ty Smith, aka Modern Renaissance Man, and you're listening to my show, Cancel This. The phone number here is 309-451-9299, and you can text the show at 309-807-1600. And we're getting ready to take a call here. Caller, you on Cities 92.9. This is Ty. Yes, you're on Cities 92.9. This is Ty. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Great.
How about you? Oh, my pleasure. Excellent. Definitely choose a college that has a strong pre-medicine program, that has a history of getting a lot of their graduates into American medical schools. That will help a lot, because it's key to have that credibility base, because that will seriously increase. Is it a he or she? Did you say son? Okay, son. Okay, that's right. I'm sorry about that. I forgot. So yeah, your son. It'll increase your son's chances of reaching his dream of getting into medical school if he chooses a college that has a strong pre-med program. And if you look around a little bit, you'll be able to see that. And just ask the colleges too, hey, how many of your pre-med graduates get accepted to medical schools and go on and this and that. And that would be the college to choose. And so you would, I always recommend trying local. So, you said you were from New Jersey, is that right? Yes. Definitely. Tell him to go for it. Keep his dream alive. Keep working hard. Try to get him. One thing that's really important when any young person is trying to go into a certain career is try to see if you can get him connected with physicians in your area that will mentor kids, kind of like I did Thailand back in the day. And excellent. So that's the key. Just get connected with individuals who's in the career field that he likes, so he can bounce a lot of questions by them and learn more as he goes, to kind of solidify his decision that that's the right decision for him, and he should be on the right track. My mom was a nurse, and so that was kind of the exposure that I had growing up. My mom was an RN, and she worked at the hospitals and outpatient clinics and things like that growing up, and so I kind of put that together and thought, okay, mom's a nurse, let me go ahead and become a doctor. And so that was really a big help for me. And also my older brother pursued medicine as well. He's an anesthesiologist himself.
Wait, there's two of them?
So I kind of he got into med school, and so I kind of followed him, and so we both became doctors. So. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Kara. Thank you so much for calling in.
You too.
You
Great
too.
Weekend.
So you guys just heard that. I mean, people, the phone number here, City 92.9. If you have some questions for Dr. Beckton, the phone number here is 309-451-9299. And you can text the show at 309-807-1600. And our calls are mainly coming from those that are listening on YouTube, because we have some major weather going on here, so they are constantly updating the weather and letting the community know. So I don't even know if the community can even hear this segment. So if you are listening to this, this is a possibility that this may be pre-recorded. Again, this may be pre-recorded. And just to let you folks know, according to today, tornado warnings for southeastern Woodford County in central Illinois, northwestern McLean County in central Illinois. Tornado warning issued for Gritty, Hudson, and Chenoa areas of McLean County, mainly north central, until 3:45. It says, and that has to be updated because I'm thinking it's rolling into 4:15 right now. And the National Weather Service in Chicago just issued a warning for Livingston County until 4:15. So again, the phone number here, 309-451-9299. You can text the show at 309-807-1600. And really, really good question from the caller there. And folks, that's what it's all about. Now, Kara says she's from New Jersey, and I only know a little bit about her because of her being a subscriber on the channel. But you see what it is? She asked a doctor a question, right? She sought out information from a medical doctor. She didn't seek out information from a black doctor, although he's black. But y'all get my drift? That's what people will want to do. Kara is, she's from New Jersey, but she has an awesome story of things that she went through herself and was able to overcome a lot of things. She actually faced racism herself, and guess what? She's not black. Folks, what she did? She faced racism? Oh man, tell me all about it. Well, wait a minute, she's not black. And guess what? Guess who she faced the racism from? She faced it from black people that was in the neighborhood that she happened to be placed in. Yeah, it goes both ways, folks. It goes both ways. So, anyway, you heard Dr. Beckton say that his brother is also an MD. Now, what type of doctor is your brother, Dr. Beckton?
My brother's an anesthesiologist.
An anesthesiologist.
And what they basically do is, if you ever need surgery, they're the doctor that puts you to sleep.
Put you to sleep. Now, how many years did he have to go to do that?
So, of course, 4 years of med school, and anesthesia residency was 4 years, and he did a fellowship in pediatric anesthesia because the little babies, you know, sometimes they're born with heart conditions and things like that, and they sometimes need, you know, surgeries that last for 16 to 20 hours. And so the anesthesiologist has to be trained and skilled enough to keep a baby under anesthesia for that long for them to get their surgery completed.
So your brother would sit there, he would scrub in, and he would sit there and just pretty much administer medicine accordingly, or how would that work? Do you have an idea? Like, what is that? Because I would love to see that.
Yeah, that's correct. So, of course, in a typical operating suite, you have the breathing machine. You've got various different ways to monitor the life functions of the individual as far as their vital signs and things like that, blood pressure and the breathing rate and all that kind of stuff. And of course the medications that you have to continuously have flowing in their bodies to keep them asleep, so they don't wake up, and so certainly you don't feel any pain. And so yeah, that's what he's been doing for nearly 30 years now.
30 years?
Yeah.
Man, 30 years as a anesthesiologist. Now, did any of those things from your brother or even yourself, did any of those, what's the word I'm looking for? Did any of your daughters or any of his children, did they actually get inclined to go into medicine?
Yes. So my oldest daughter is actually finishing her second year of pediatric residency, so she decided to go into medicine and become a physician. And my brother's youngest daughter right now is thinking that, so she's looking at she's just finished her freshman year of college, and so but she's in pre-med and in the track to becoming a physician as well.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. We have a question from the internet for Dr. Beckton. It says, do anesthesiologists get relieved so they don't make mistakes, considering how long that he sometimes can be in there? And that's from Patricia Stone.
For the most part, the attending anesthesiologist starts the cases and finishes the cases. Rarer is the case that they get relieved. So usually, as a general rule of thumb, they start and they finish. They put the patient to sleep and they wake the patient back up.
Wow. So you said sometimes it can go to how many hours?
For the pediatric, like open heart surgeries and transpositions of great vessels, those certain anomalies that kids are born with heart conditions, they can take 16 hours, 20 hours. Yes.
Are you guys hearing this? You talking about waking up in the morning or whatever time he gets up, going to work, and I'm pretty sure that things have changed now. I'm pretty sure there was a day where they stood, but I'm pretty sure they can sit now. But no matter what, 16 hours being in one spot, concentrating on one individual. A person's life is in your hand. Can y'all even imagine the amount of pressure?
Yeah, now that's certainly for only certain conditions. So not all pediatric cardiac issues require that long of surgeries, but there are certain ones that do.
Oh my goodness! Even the ones that don't. Just the fact that even if it's not major, the fact that there could be, so many different things that can go on in a surgery. I mean, if even it's like, I'm pretty sure your brother, 30 years experience, he probably like, oh yeah, doing this right here, 10-hour sit, that's nothing to me anymore. But just the fact that having to work yourself up to, having to make yourself acclimatized to something like that, sitting that long for that many hours, even if it's just something that's really not that major, is, to me, that's absolutely extraordinary. Folks, this is awesome interview we got going on here. We're getting ready to take a break here. More of the show when we come back next. I'm Ty Smith. You're listening to Cancel This, Cities 92.9, the News and Talk of Bloomington. Woo, that is awesome. That is, man, 16 hours. Oh my goodness, man.
Like transposition of the great vessels. Some of those, heart wall defects where you have to reconstruct the wall of the heart. Yeah, they could take long times.
And you talking about a pediatric though? So I guess in my mind I'm thinking automatically like it's I'm thinking babies, but pediatrics goes from I forget what age, from 0 to
So infants would be like 0 to 9 months, and then you're looking at like 11 months to about 2 years old. Is more early pediatric, early childhood.
So and, little hearts though.
Yes.
So that means the instrumentation that they're using is smaller as well.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah.
For a free estimate today. The fresh produce is always changing at Jackson's Produce.
Okay, let's see.
On Facebook for updates on fresh produce, including
Let's see. Letho, you said Dr. Beckton. Letho said, she said, Dr. Beckton, do they use mostly propofol or instead succinylcholine?
That's a good question because, so I'm the sports medicine specialist. It's my brother that's the anesthesiologist. So that's more of a question that he would be better to answer than me. But you're correct. Both of those medications are common anesthesia medications that are used to put patients to sleep. But as far as the details, I don't. Not being an anesthesiologist, I can't answer that question accurately.
Then Miss Patricia Stone says, do they at least get a 10-minute break? I doubt it. He said they have to be there from the time it starts to the time it ends. So I don't know where a break would come in at, but I don't know.
Now there's a lot of sounds and beeps and buzzes and things like that those monitors do for patients that are under anesthesia. So if you hear one of those go off, there could be something going on. You have to pay more attention to the patient. But a lot of times, like anything, you become a professional. You do a certain job. You get used to the normal flow of it, and it becomes kind of more second nature.
You guys are throwing out some good questions there. That's really good. Even though most of the time, that's what we kind of talk about on this channel a lot. Health when it comes to physical, spiritual, emotionally, and physically. So you definitely getting it now. Definitely.
You've seen the McLean County asphalt trucks improving the parking lots.
You're welcome, Lethal.
McLean County. But what you may not be aware of is that they also do residential jobs. So if your driveway needs repairing, or if you're looking to finally pave that gravel and dirt path,
nah, nobody does that. Nah. See, when I get asked that question, I throw a number out. I'll say, like, when I got out of school, you can start out in school from $45,000 to X amount of thousand, but I'm not going to tell you what my salary is.
I got an interesting story. I was speaking at a school. In fact, I think it was Eisenhower High School in Decatur one time, and a kid asked me that question, baited me into it, and I actually gave him some number ranges. And the lady that I didn't know that there was like a newspaper writer there, and when she wrote an article on the issue, and okay.
What is going on, Bloomington Normal? Hope you guys are all out there staying safe during this bad weather. I'm Ty Smith. You listen to my show, Cancel This, on Season 92.9, the News and Talk of Bloomington Normal, where you can call up here at 309-451-9299, and you can also text the show at 309-807-1600. And make sure you are paying attention to the weather, because there is bad weather. And if you are listening to this being played a week after the day that this weather actually hit, this is pre-recorded, so I apologize in advance. All right, folks, we are here with my father figure / mentor, Dr. Wendell Beckton, world-renowned sports medicine doctor. And before we took the break, there were some questions that were being asked online, and he was getting ready to tell a story, so I wanted to actually start that story over. And someone asked a question online from YouTube and asked, what's his salary? And I kind of jumped in there and told people, like, pretty much like when somebody asks me what my salary is, I just give them a range of what someone in my profession can make. And Dr. Beckton was getting ready to tell an interesting story, so I'm going to ask him to go ahead and tell us that story from the beginning so the listeners can hear that as well.
So yeah, I was speaking at a local public high school down in Decatur, and a kid asked me that question, and I gave him some kind of specific numbers, and much to my chagrin, the next day a newspaper article came out, and instead of really hitting the points and writing about the points that I talked about, they focused on the salary range that I made, and I was like, you know what, they totally missed the ball. I mean, the point is, I was trying to encourage the kids to consider a career field in medicine, and there's so many great points I made, but like that article was predominantly I was like, oh my goodness. And so I learned that lesson that time. Yes, if somebody asks you that question, just deflect it, say, just like you said, no, I'm not going to tell you the specifics.
Yeah.
Go look it up or something like that.
Exactly. That's what I do. I'm like, well, you can go on Google.
Exactly.
You can go on Google and say, what does a sports medicine doctor make? What does the anesthesiologist make? What does the physical therapist says? The orthopedic physician says. What does the nurse make? A RN, a nurse anesthetist. So in other words, no, you're not being told.
Don't make it personal. Don't make it personal.
No, you can give a range on there. So of course, I got to hear this story from you personally. Let them know, what type of household setting were you in? Because you are a doctor, your brother is a doctor, and I can let you explain what type of setting and what type of household you come from.
So unfortunately, Tyler, that especially in the black community, there's many of the black households are single parent and no fathers in the home. Unfortunately, I grew up in a home just like that. So my dad was in the Army, and he fought in Vietnam. And unfortunately, the Vietnam War had a very high divorce rate of the soldiers. So a lot of the families broke apart to a very high percentage. And we were one of those families, unfortunately. So I grew up my parents got divorced at the time that I was 1 year old. And I actually was conceived at Fort Belvoir as one of my dad's leaves coming from Vietnam. So and that happened a lot too. Soldiers get their leave time. Oftentimes they get pregnant. With their spouses and whatnot. But anyway. So I mom had to raise me and my brother single parent, but she was a great example. She always really emphasized academics. It was really important for us growing up to pay attention to our schoolwork and things like that. Me and my brother were both athletes, so we really were more interested in being athletes than necessarily being in the books. But mom was firm and kept us on the straight and narrow. And so ultimately, we ended up, pursuing medicine and staying strongly academic.
And doing really, really, really good, as you guys can see. And it's not talking about, money-wise, because I can tell you guys this. When I was first introduced to Dr. Beckton was driving, I think, like a Nissan, was that a Passport?
Yes.
Was it a Passport? And I'm thinking to myself, this dude is not a doctor. I'm like, this is no way that he is a doctor. How is he a doctor and he's driving a Passport? In my mind, doctors all came balling, with the big old giant V8 Mercedes-Benz, things like that, and Bentleys. That's what my mind said. So when he was up in there, he was in a Passport, and then I think his wife at the time had it was a Honda Odyssey. I'm like, no, I don't think so. But that's one of the most important things that I think that happened with me, seeing how a doctor being successful didn't put all these emphasis on what the cliches or the stereotypes of what doctors, cars and stuff is supposed to look like, because you were very conservative in how you dealt with things.
Yes, I think it's more important to have your car paid off as early as it possibly can. Have a car that is quality enough to get you from point A to point B. But you're right, really, as far as investments goes, cars are probably the worst investment you can invest in, because they depreciate, when they're used. It's kind of a personal item. And so, if you put a lot of your economic resources into a car, you're not going to get a good return. So I always kept it pretty basic, and I still do to this day.
See, folks, I'm telling you this. Now, see, can y'all imagine Imagine a whole lot of other young men being around, hearing Dr. Beckton talk like this. You see what I'm saying? You see what that can do to their perspective, how it can change things up? You know what I'm saying? This what needs to be in a lot of our communities that they just are not pushing out there. Folks, you listen to Cities 92.9, the News and Talk of Bloomington Normal. I'm Ty Smith. My show here is Cancel This. And the phone number here is 309-451-9299. You can text the show at 309-807-1600. And you heard Dr. Beckton talking about the vehicle that I told you that I saw him in. But also, I threw that out there, but guys, check this out. He also had a Metro. He used to come to work driving a Chevy Metro.
A Geo Metro.
It was a Geo Metro? Okay,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
right, Geo Metro. So even with that right there, what was it like? What was it like in your mind, thinking to yourself, like, "Now I'm a doctor and I'm pulling up to work in a Geo Metro"? Was you just not even thinking like that, or was just like, I'm just driving this car until the wheels fall off and I don't care what anybody thinks about what I'm driving?
You know, it's interesting. The Geo Metro was actually inherited to me by my grandmother. So my grandmother passed away, and she wanted me to have the Geo Metro. And so, I mean, it had little pink bubbles on it and stuff like that. I mean, it totally was not, you know, the type of car that I would go and purchase for myself. But because it was inherited from my grandmother, you know, I wanted to utilize it, you know, and so of course I passed it on down to my oldest daughter.
And if I remember, she wasn't too hot about that.
She did not like the Geo Metro.
You guys got to understand something. Where Dr. Beckton daughters went to school, it's a nice area. I mean, the school is very nice. It was Forsyth, Illinois, and a lot of his daughter's friends, their parents also they did very good for themselves, and they drove different kinds of cars. So I remember his daughter being mad because she didn't want to drive the Geo Metro to work. I mean, I'm sorry, not the word. She didn't want to drive that Geo to school because it's like, my dad is a sports medicine doctor. Dr. Beckton's in Decatur on billboards and all kinds of different things. Got a sports enhancement center that he had going in Decatur, Illinois, and his daughter's going to come to school in a Geo Metro. Can you imagine what the students would have said, folks? Anyway, we get ready to take another break here, folks. More from the show when we come back. I'm Ty Smith. You listen to Cancel This on Cities 92.9, the News and Talk of Bloomington Normal. I remember Brooke was so mad, man.
But you know,
it's purple now.
Yeah. But yeah, I just never forgot where I came from. I mean, I remember when we was growing up, me and my mom, you know, the cars we had as a kid, they were just total beaters, you know what I mean? Like old Mercury Montego MX. I remember that thing was, you know, about to rust in the road out. It had all kind of, you know, body work problems. But we just, early on, I just, you know, got to the point where it's like, you know what? It really doesn't matter how fancy a car you drive. You know, it's more about the character of the individual, where you're going. It's
right.
It's not what you're going in. You know, it's like where you're headed is more important. You know,
that's
and
right.
So you just focus on those more important things, and you'll get farther in life for sure.
Man, that's what I'm saying. I love that. It's just so, like, when I was telling them about, you know, where I am right now, and I was saying on my YouTube channel, I would tell them, I'm like, I kid you guys not, I said, I will go to the Goodwill in a minute, man. I don't even have them on. I was saying, when I was talking with Candace Owens yesterday, I was telling them how, like, Brandon Tatum, he is so into shoes.
Okay.
He had these fancy shoes on, man, like, and then he recognized the shoes I had on. Because I was looking at his shoes and I teased him. I said, Brandon Tatum, let me get your shoes and go feed a small village in Africa. Because these shoes is ridiculous, man. And so he looked at my shoes. He said, what are you talking about? You got on Steve Madden's. He's like, and then he got this app where he's so into shoes. He took a picture of my shoes and it told him exactly what my shoes was and how much they were. Wow. So he's like, you got on some $250 pair of shoes. I was like, yeah, but I got them for $11 at the Goodwill.
There you go.
So
yes.
Yeah, so they might be worth $250, but I didn't pay that. I paid $11 for them bad boys. So
that's the key. Getting a great deal, get the best quality you can at the best price. Yes. Oh yes.
Kara wants to let you know that her son, that she asked about the medical advice, her son said, thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
William Lynn said, you have a great guest. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
They're very informative and teach me, you know, help me learn what will help get my
Betty White, wait till you guys see that episode. Wait till y'all see the episode when I went on the Candace show. I can't wait for y'all to see it.
Nice.
I cannot wait for you guys to see it because she dove into that whole conspiracy.
Does your financial advisor work for a big company based thousands of miles away? Local
But I appreciate you guys commenting and all that. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up so the video can be circulated. And honestly, I mean, I'm just being honest with you guys. If you guys got neighbors or anything like that, and you might feel scared to do it, just say, hey, check out this interview between, you know, two black gentlemen that, you know, came from, you know, low areas and all that, and was able to get themselves into a successful standpoint. You guys, I'm serious, share it. You have to share it.
With non-stop flights to Detroit on Delta.
Derek Gibson, I just flew in from Nashville not too long ago, and I did the Candace Owens show.
Check into arrival. You can fly again with comfort and confidence.
As a high school grad, I got luggage, true, and other family members also got luggage. I have no idea what that means.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. I came out in
Miss Bridget, what did Bridget say?
grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to begin. Even though
Lethal,
these
I don't
years
see nothing that
I still had that
Bridget
longing
said.
to
Did she
have
address
it.
me?
The hard part was determining that I was going to do it, but I definitely didn't do it alone.
At age 30, with the help of her mentor, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
I have a mentor, Maria. She convinced me to continue my education and finish what I started.
Mad Mitch. Yes, sir. Preach therapy. That's good, man. I'm glad to hear that.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone.
I don't see nothing that Bridget said. I don't know why I'm missing that. Daniel said, as a Christian, I asked my surgeon to pray with us before my surgery. Do you get many patients asking you to pray for them before surgery? He doesn't do.
So I am a family medicine physician, and I did a fellowship in sports medicine. And so basically I take care of non-operative orthopedic injuries to the muscles, bones, and the joints. And so if you break a bone and it doesn't require surgery, then I'm the doc that I can take care of you, put you in a cast, get you to heal, and you're back in the game. So, but I do work with some world-renowned orthopedic surgeons at the Orthopedic Center of St. Louis. And we do all of the common sports surgeries. So, but prayer is something that I have had with my patients in the past.
What's going on, Bloomington Normal? You are listening to my show, Cancel This. I am Ty Smith, aka Modern Renaissance Man. The phone number here is 309-451-9299, and you can text the show at 309-807-1600. And we are having an awesome show today. There are a lot of questions flying in to my father figure / mentor, Dr. Beckton. And folks, this is showing you proof right here. This is, I mean, the video of me going viral at the city school board meeting, from what I'm told, it reached over 80 million views worldwide. But why did it reach that? What was it behind it that made it so powerful? Was it what I said, or is it what I actually did? What are you talking about, Ty? Some people say it was a combination of both. But let me tell you guys something that's actually really, really interesting about this whole thing. I got up there, I mentioned the degrees, I mentioned me being married, I mentioned me having children, I mentioned me all these different things that I did. And I pretty much addressed the audience and said, how was I able to accomplish this if there was some white force or some white systemic racist system that was holding me back? And what you find to be very interesting, I knew that within 5 days after that video, from people sending me texts and emails, different things in, I knew that I stirred something up. Because after that video went viral, immediately people started discrediting. Man, Dr. Beckton, I didn't have no degree at all. I didn't have no degrees, man. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have no children. I wasn't a musician. All I was an imposter who has a low-paying job as a radio host. That was all I was. And it just amazed me that folks immediately tried to deflect from the situation, the current issue that was at hand. We're up here talking about them trying to hypersexualize kids, giving them too much sexual information at a young age. Then we were talking about critical race theory. So, hearing from a doctor, I mean, you know how Dr. Beckton, man, you've had many talks, man. We talked to, I mean, we would start off, I would be at your house from starting like at 8 o'clock, and we would go talking till 5 o'clock in the morning, man. So you don't have to hold anything back, because, you know, Dr. Beckton is always going to be honest in his opinion on things, you know, same way. See, the difference, though, Dr. Beckton's more cool, laid back about it. I'm like, in your face, I don't care what you say. Yeah, you know what you can do. So, in your opinion, Dr. Beckton, so what came out, I don't know if you know about this. It's a bill that's sitting on Pritzker's desk. I think it's called like bills, let's just say, I think it's called 0818. And pretty much, man, Dr. Beckton, if you've seen the pictures that are in these books that they want second graders, third graders to see, and the book that this lady named Becky Swan presented, the book was called It's Perfectly Normal. And this book actually was instructing teachers to teach kids how to masturbate.
Wow.
Yes. It was teaching kids how to masturbate, and it's called It's Perfectly Normal. So like from just a medical background, you know, do you think that having kids being introduced to things that are sexually, like, I don't even know the word for it because it's just mess. I can't even associate sex with children. So I'm lost for words on it. But I guess what I'm trying to say, do you think that is too early? Because they're trying to get it from the kindergarten. I mean, Dr. Beckton, I think they had it early as a 7th or 8th grade. They had in there. They want them to be able to describe and understand what vaginal, oral, and anal sex is.
Wow. So, you know, it's interesting because whenever they are going to put forward some sort of bill to implement some sort of rule or law or some type of mandate that individuals would have to do, it's really important to vet them out very closely, just like you're doing. You know, pay very close attention to what the content of it is, and is that content helpful or is it damaging? What's the potential downsides of it, and what would be the upsides? And so it sounds to me like there's still a whole lot of vetting that needs to be done before a decision's made on that particular bill. From the information that I have, I will say that, you know, I'm certainly not an expert in sex education or, you know, that type of thing, but just common sense wise, which, Tylen, one of the key things that we always talked about was fairness and common sense.
Yes.
You know, focus on those types of things. Be as fair as you possibly can be, and just use as much common sense as you possibly can into any approach or whatever you do. And so just for discussion purposes, just a couple things just come to mind about a first grade kid, or, you know, that age. Number one, they're not even anywhere close to being sexually mature.
Yes.
Okay. They, they haven't, for female standpoint, they haven't started their menstrual cycle yet. I mean, that doesn't hit until usually somewhere between 9 to 11. And you're talking about kids in first and second grade. So obviously,
Yes.
you know, males, I mean, you know, with us guys, I mean, it's, as far as hitting puberty, it can be anywhere from, you know, 15 to 18, you know, so we're a little delayed when it comes to, you know, sexual maturity. So, I mean, any sort of bill that would give any sort of specifics about sexuality, I think shouldn't even be thought about being introduced to children until they're at least past sexual maturity.
Right.
So you know, if you have to wait for the guy. So I mean, you're basically talking 18. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, so. But again, I will always say, because credibility is key, you know, and I want to make sure that you realize that, you know, I'm not the most credible when it comes to, you know, sexual.
But even if you were, they would shut you down, because
like
I mean, even if you were, they would shut you down, because, you know, like even right now in our world, anybody that's a medical doctor is completely discredited, because the only doctor right now is Fauci. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, but I'm just thinking, like what you just said right there is that what's really important is I use this quote all the time, and it's so powerful. And it was just in this movie Jurassic Park. Dr. Malcolm in Jurassic Park was saying that he was against them actually trying to have a dinosaur park and all this. He said a quote that I use it a lot on the youth when I talk to him: "You were so focused on the fact that you could, you never stopped and thought if you should." And as we see in Jurassic Park, what he said came to be exactly right. It became a disaster. Everything erupted. The dinosaurs got out, it became a complete disaster. So to me, it's more or less like I guess, what made a person want to even think that a child was raped or something like that? And especially, you had, I'm pretty sure, and being a doctor, well, both of us being in medicine, you definitely had a lot more than me. Gross anatomy, physiology, that when you just broke down how children hit sexual maturity at a certain age. So to me, I think it's like one of those deals where why would you want to introduce that to a child so early? Like, what's the reasoning? That's the only, and I read the stuff that they put out, and to me, I don't want to know that you're actually doing it. I want to know actually why. That's what I asked.
Exactly.
Why?
Yeah, you want to vet it. You want to know every single part of it before you implement it, because it potentially could be very damaging. And I would, well, for certainly, that's not what should happen. Whatever your intention is unintentional or whatever the case, you just have to be really careful when you try to put forth some sort of a ruling that's going to continually happen. It's what I call the 80%. 80% is the actions. You can talk about something. This is kind of a Dr. Becktonism thing right here, but I pretty much break it down that whatever your words are saying, whatever you're talking about, the greatest credit that you can get from that is about 20%. But your actions, that goes all the way up to 80%. So if you do a bad action, that's an 80% problem. If you say bad words, that at worst is about a 20% problem. Okay, so it's the actions you want to really be cautious with, because they're the ones that's more weighty. You know what I mean? So that's kind of a guideline that I tend to do. Like, I just use another example. If someone says I love you, okay, well, if they get full credit of that, that's 20% love you've just been shown. There's still 80% on the table that's left. Where's the love action? Okay, give me an action love, and then then you hit 80%. So,
man, y'all see what I'm talking about? Y'all see how we can sit there and be in these deep conversations. Y'all see what I'm saying? Now, seriously, listeners, you hearing Dr. Beckton talk. I was just the one kid. I would sit there and tell some of the people on my track team about Dr. Beckton. Like, no, I'm like, he's not like what you guys think. I'm like, Dr. Beckton is open to his home. He'll let us come in there. We can sit down and come and talk with him. But they were scared, like when you just mentioned about opportunities. They were so used, Dr. Beckton, and you know where I come from. I come from the hood. They were so used to being told this downtrodden thing of, we're not going to be able to make it out of the hood. There's some white force out there that's keeping us down. We're really not going to amount to nothing. We're suppressed and we're oppressed, and and then here I am sitting there saying, no, you guys, you gotta come and meet Dr. Beckton. And guys, what's really interesting about the listeners is that someone that was actually a mentor to me at a certain period of time, he tried to introduce me to Dr. Beckton, and guess what? I responded the same way. I didn't want to meet Dr. Beckton. I didn't want to hear from Dr. Beckton. All I knew is that the friend that was my athletic trainer in my high school, he was leaving my high school to go work for Dr. Beckton. And I was so mad. And he would tell me, his name is Zach Soa. He told me, Ty, you got to meet Dr. Beckton. He's a good guy, man. I think you guys will really do good. He can help you. I'm like, I don't want to talk to no Dr. Beckton. I don't want to talk to no doctor. No, I don't want to meet no doctor or anything like that. And then to actually sit there and finally meet Dr. Beckton, and man, now I made me and Zach was a mentor of mine for a season. I would talk to Zach every single day after school before I had to go home. After meeting Dr. Beckton, me and Zach talk for maybe once a week. As the years go by, me and Zach maybe talk now maybe once every 6 months. And it's nothing to do with Zach. It's just that during that season, that's who a male figure in my life was. And there was a lot of male figures in my life while I was growing up. A lot of male figures. People's like, well, see, to let you know that a person not lying about something, I can just flame them off. I can sit there and say, Coach Hartback was one. Coach Gibbony was one. When I did Taekwondo, we called him Earl. His name is Earl Taylor. Master Taylor was one. When I went to the after-school program, Keith Anderson was one. When I was in high school, Coach Ingham was one. Coach Hartback was one. Coach Brydoff was one. And then that's, Zach Soa, athletic trainer, he was one. And Dr. Beckton became one. My pastor became one. So I can name all these things off just like that. If people want to try to sit there and, they want to downplay your story. Well, who is this man? Who? Like right now. That's why he's on the show right now, YouTube, because a lot of y'all thought that I was lying about who Dr. Beckton is. Matter of fact, look him up right now. Google Dr. Wendell Beckton right now. The man is going to show up. You're going to see a picture of him and all that. Google Dr. Wendell Beckton. You think I'm lying? There's another one back at them. That's what I love about that. You want to discredit people so much because there's no way that a black man can ever do something good like that without no. He pressed through. Him and his brother both are doctors. Folks, yeah, y'all see I'm getting a little worked up because we're crushing this narrative. We're crushing this ideology they're trying to push on Americans. So anyway, we're getting ready to take a break right here, folks. More of the show when we come back with Dr. Beckton. I am Ty Smith, a.k.a. Modern Renaissance Man. You listen to Cancel This on Cities 92.9, the news to talk of Bloomington Normal.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Somebody tried to blow me up. I don't know who that was on a Saturday. Let me see here.
Oh, yeah, you can check it out. We got a break here, so it's not.
Continue overnight with lows in the 70s and another chance of storms on Sunday. I'm WMBD Chief Meteorologist Chris.
Oh no, there's a lot of tornado warnings.
Oh, that's what it is. It's going to give me some more warnings.
This is actually Ladue, Missouri, huh?
I'll talk to you about that off. Never mind. I forgot we still live on the mic, so.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
I can make sure that it's not on if you about to call.
No, I'm not going to call.
Okay.
I'm just going to listen to a voicemail.
To viewer, to be honest with you, since we are off the radio right now, Dr. Beckton will tell you whether he is at liberty to talk about that or not, because you know what they're doing to doctors now. So we can just kind of make it plain to where he can either talk about that or he can't. So, but we'll ask him when he gets off the phone.
That's a bummer. Wow.
Back in the day, you should have seen how them childers kids were always going in and out.
To be honest with you though, to viewer, you guys all know what mine is, but see, Dr. Beckton is on a different tier when it comes to certain things like that when it comes to mass and vaccination. So I don't know if that's something that he can address. So they might try to come for his job. So. Well, we're not on the radio right now. We're off, so I can always, when we're like here on YouTube, whatever like that, we're off the record. But they're asking pretty much want to know like what your take was on COVID and all that. And that might, I mean, if that's something that we just want to address, we just want to address. They know I'm real with them, so we can just say we're not going to address that and leave it at that, because he goes back to practice, and if something got out and he got to deal with his patients or the other physicians he work around, that might can become a big issue. Versus me, it's different, because where I'm at as a director and the company that I'm with, that's our own choice. So. To viewer, you don't know my take on what the COVID and everything. I did a whole video on it. Yeah, if you go to the playlist, go to my playlist, right? And when you go to the playlist, go to church/God topics. Okay? When you go to church/God topics, you're gonna see a topic on there and me talking about it and giving the statistics on it and the rate and the recovery rate and all that. And that, yeah. So I address that heavily.
Yeah, and I always say, I'm so big on credibility, and because it's how valuable it is. The physician that really should be the one that should field most of the questions about COVID-19 is an infectious disease specialist.
Right, there you go.
An internal medicine trained, and then they did a specialty, a fellowship in infectious disease. They're really the one that should be doing all the talking, because they're the most credible.
And now, I mean, and to be honest with you too, viewer, if you think about it, think about the infectious disease doctors that actually came out and gave their opinion. You see, they shut them down. So it's like it's not even. It's almost like it's not even worth even talking about it, because they shut it down. The African lady spoke out. Those other two doctors, they spoke out, showing their recovery rate, showing that they was giving them, the hydrochloroquine and all that. So we can ready to come back in here, folks. So give us a second. What's going on, Bloomington Normal? Hopefully you guys are all out there staying safe on this storm day. There's a lot of bad weather out there, folks. We have tornado warnings for southeastern Woodford County and central Illinois, Northwestern McLean County and Central Illinois tornado warning issued for Grady, Hudson, Chenoa, McLean County, and is mainly north until further notice. The National Weather Service also in Chicago issued a warning for Livingston County. So make sure you guys are staying safe, keeping watch, paying attention to the radios, the phones, TVs if you got power. If you don't got power, hope you got an old school boombox looking radio that you can put those big old giant batteries in to get some updates. So yeah, because there's a possibility there's going to be flying debris that can be dangerous, and especially if you're out and walking and outside of a vehicle, it can be very dangerous. Homes can be destroyed, roofs, windows, and such. So make sure that you are safe and paying attention to the live updates. So folks, before we took the break, you guys heard me talking to Dr. Beckton Dr. Beckton, my father figure / mentor, and you see some of the different topics that we got on, and we was pretty much talking about how I could sit there and mention all type of different male role models that came across in my life, because if we have 72% of blacks don't have a father in the home, there's no male role models there, you know. So what are they left with? And look, folks, you can say what you want to. We know on the radio show, that's why it's called Cancel This, because we can talk real on there. We can talk real. Now, the ones that are on YouTube, there's some things that can't be addressed. I get that with Dr. Beckton, but on Cities 92.9, there's things that we can just talk and be frank with. So one of the things that makes a lot of people upset is that whatever you want to call it, no woman, I'm sorry folks, I've seen it. I deal with this stuff. A woman can raise a kid. A woman can raise her daughter. A woman can raise her son. But no matter what, they both still need their father. I'm not saying nothing against anybody gay, so don't even go down that road and try to call me homophobic, egotistic, misogynistic, blah, 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 blah. Don't even go there. You're just trying to deflect. If you don't believe me, go on Google and look up all the different cases about some of the women that were two mothers, and they adopted a daughter, and the daughter turned around and sued them because the daughter said she didn't get to have an experience of having a father. And it happened to two men as well. Those stories are out there. What is my point? My point is, strong fathers in the homes is absolutely 100% key with children. So one of the things that definitely drew me when I was a teenager to Dr. Beckton is I got to sit there and watch Dr. Beckton and how he functioned in his home with his 3 daughters. So I got to see Dr. Beckton talk about church. He talked about the Lord. He set strong foundations with the girls. I remember you did this thing where I don't even know what it's even called because I don't have a daughter. So, but I remember you doing this thing with them where you had the talk of life, where you took them out and you had this dinner and you just knew, hey, you crossed over to womanhood a little bit. So let me give you the rundown of how you saying this is how it should go.
So, sure. I mean, having a father in the home is absolutely crucial. Motherhood is absolutely crucial, obviously, but the two come together and form the complete. I mean, absolute complete. And without the father, there's such a major deficit. I mean, because men bring specific things to the table that's not replaceable.
Right.
Many different things, but in particular, men should bring protection. They should bring provisions. Your dad should provide the things that you need. You know what I mean? If you grew up and did not see that, you have a significant deficit, and you're going to have some issues through your life. Even me to this day, there's many things that are voided, holes or empty places, if you will, by not having a father growing up. And getting the confidence of even being a father. I mean, what you're supposed to do, your role was compromised in my mind because the confidence wasn't there because I didn't get the example. If you don't see it, like I said earlier about the 80%, it's those actions. Actions are so much more significant than words. Words are important, but again, this is my take on it. I think the best words you can ever say to somebody will only carry 20% value. The best action that you can do to somebody is going to be 80% value or more. Depends on how good the action was. Okay?
Man, that's what I'm talking about.
So, but if you don't get those combinations of actions, those reps, those experiences, then as a man, you really are at a deficit. And there was a lot of struggles that I had as a father. Especially it's kind of interesting because I had brothers growing up. and no sisters. And so then I ended up having 3 daughters, and so you know, and then I didn't have a father, so it was like, you know, it's like, man, I was starting off at a deficit big time, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's like, oh my goodness. So, but you know, you work hard, you put your time into it, you know, you try to get you know, a good base, which a good Christian foundation obviously is a good answer, has a good answer for every situation. And so through that I was able to do it, you know, and raise my kids and be there and actually erase that significant negative deficit that I had growing up without a father.
Man, absolutely loved it. Did you guys hear that? Now see, that's the awesome thing about that, because folks, man, we are almost out of time here. And it doesn't even seem like we've been here 2 hours.
It's true.
It's absolutely amazing. And I can tell you right now, I can attest to this. When Dr. Beckton said 20% talk and 80% action, I can attest to that, because everything the man said to me, he would always say, you know what, I'm not just gonna say this time. I tell you, he would always say this. He'll say, Tylen, I tell you what I'm gonna do. This is what's about to happen. We're getting ready to go get this U-Haul over in Champaign. We're getting ready to bring the U-Haul back. We're gonna pack all your clothes. I'm gonna drive you and your wife Shantae down to college so you can go to college. I mean, folks, the dude has been nothing more than about actions. And I'm a type of person that I don't care about what you say to me. I was always like, because I had so many different role models in my life that hurt me. And I'm like, I don't, so when people come and say things, I'm like, I don't care what they're saying. I don't care what you have to say. I'm based off of what you're going to do. So imagine by him just doing those different things in my life with his actions, look what that has done. One man, Dr. Beckton, took time out to help one kid from the hood. And look what we're doing right now. The video went viral, 80 million views all over the world. And now all these different news stations, all these different shows want to have me on there from just one person taking time out to actually sit down and be like a father figure to a kid from the ghetto. I'm telling you.
I got to interject a little bit too. Tylen, also, you bring a ton of credibility. You have made great choices. Got married early, stayed faithful to your wife. You raised your kids. You made good choices. You know, it was really easy to mentor you, and a blessing, because you appreciated and you responded. You know, and it was easy for me to be there for you, because first of all, I knew you was going to appreciate it, and actually, you know, you have ended up mentoring many more young people than even I have. In fact, I'm glad we had to spend some time right now, because I'm like, I got to get my mentoring game back up again. I got to go out and start doing it more, because lately, you know, with COVID and all kinds of other stuff, I just haven't been out in the community as much. But I think I'm going to adopt a local area to go back and give back and help more.
Man, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That is awesome, folks. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. That is awesome. We're going to have Dr. Beckton come back in here again, man, and do this again, because this is awesome, folks. America needs to see, they need to hear. I'm not just talking about for blacks. I'm talking about period. Just having a mentor in your life like that, doing what he did, look at the ramifications of that. Look at the response from that. And now this one man helped this one guy, and now this one guy is helping hundreds and hundreds of kids. See, it's like that, what they call the ripple effect. Anyway, folks, y'all, look, I'm so glad that y'all were here. Thank y'all for the questions. We're going to have Dr. Beckton on definitely again. Appreciate all you much. Make sure y'all leave a thumbs up so that the video can be circulated, and we will catch you guys next time. I hope and pray that every last one of you guys have food, shelter, and clothing. And most of all, I hope and pray every last one of you guys are in great health. God bless you through Jesus.
Certainly